Good morning, y'all. Am I in a different place today? You know, I've changed places, I think, every single video, and this is number 13. My poor husband, he's so good about moving furniture. He loves moving furniture, about like he loves painting, which he hates. But he does it. He's a sweetheart. I think my light's a little bit better here, so I'm going to give it a shot. I feel like I need to take a deep breath and just chill out for a minute, so I'm going to do that and visit with y'all. Things have been a little bit hectic at my house, like they are at everybody's house. I don't even have small children, and things get hectic. What in the world? How can things be hectic when you're retired? But they are, and they do. They happen. I'll tell you one little example. Most of you know, we live on a lake. It's not a huge lake, but it is a lake, and it's between two dams, and the water is very swift in our lake, and it's cold because the water comes off the bottom of the upper dam going down to the lower dam because they're making electricity out of that stuff. And it takes it on up into June before the water really is warm enough that anybody wants to get in it. Now, there are lots of crazy people out there that are skiing and jet skiing and all that stuff, but the water's pretty cold. I was sitting here in my stitching chair last week and glanced over to my left. I saw a movement, and two small children came out of the neighbor's yard and into my yard. They were about 6 and 7, or maybe even 5 and 7. I'm not sure. A little girl and a little boy. And they just walked straight through my yard all the way to the back. And I quickly tried to get up, which is hard for me because I get a little stiff sitting here, and I had to move my little rolling table back and get my stitching off my lap and get things out of the way. And as I was approaching my back patio door, I could see them walking down the concrete steps into the lake. Yes. It scared me so bad. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Luckily, the water was very cold, and they didn't try to go very far. By the time I could unlock the back door and get out onto the deck, they were all the way out on my boat dock, sitting down with their feet in the water. I, of course, called them and said, "Come up here." And they did. They didn't want to, but they did. They were polite. I had never seen these children before. We have some new neighbors that have moved in about a block down the street, and they have 3 children. Luckily, the 4-year-old was not with these two. And I said, as the old teacher in me came out, "Children, the lake is very deep, and the water is very swift, and it's very cold, and you could drown in it really quickly, and that scares me. So don't ever come back in my yard without an adult with you." And the little girl looked up at me, cute as a bug, and she said, "Well, it is your property." And I said, "Yes, it is my property. Don't ever come back on it without your parents." And she said, "Well, I think maybe my mama's going to come down here and talk to you." I said, "Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? I would love to visit with your mother." That's kind of how things started out. She has, by the way, been out in the middle of the street a couple of times, sitting in the middle of the street, which scares me to death. I have met with her parents, and yes, I have spoken to them. And the school teacher came out again, and I said, "It really scares me, but, what can you do?" In addition to that, I have an aunt, my dad's last living sibling, who lives with my sister in Jefferson City, Missouri, 400 miles from me. But early in the month, we met, and I brought her down to Texarkana, which is 2.5, maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes away from me. to visit her cousin who's older than her. And while she was there, she fell in the middle of the night and she broke her femur in two places and had to have surgery there the next day. By the way, she's blind. Did I tell you that? She's blind. She had to go to rehab. We very quickly found out that somehow, some way, she had canceled her Medicare and had purchased a managed Medicare. I'd never heard of such a thing. But here's the thing about managed Medicare. They don't want to pay for rehab out of state. They want you to be in your own state while they pay for it. She, of course, cannot be transported the 500 miles away from her home that she is right now. We got an approval for her to be in the rehab hospital, but she doesn't like it there. She's quite strong-willed, and she wants to leave. And she wants to leave today, and she doesn't care how that happens. She's gotten a little confused. She thinks that she's working there and they are taking her wages from her and paying Medicare with it. I'm not laughing. Really, I'm not, y'all. I'm going back and forth, of course, to do her laundry and get her room straight and back to where she can try to find things. Because, again, she's blind. She can't see. She's in a strange place with strange people in a town where she doesn't live. So it's awful. It really is awful. So if you believe in prayer, if you would please add Joyce to your prayer list, I would be ever so grateful, because she certainly could use a lot of them right now. Anyway, retired life is not always calm. A lot of times it is, but not always. I have a lot of things I want to show y'all. I did not do Stitch Mania. I did not. I did have 12 starts in May, but not because I was doing Stitch Mania. I had this love-hate relationship going on with Stitch Mania. I didn't want to do it, and then I did want to do it, and then I didn't want to do it, and then I did, but I ended up not doing it. 12 starts for me is really not all that unusual. I had 7 starts in April, as a matter of fact, but y'all know I do a lot of small things, and so I start them and generally get them finished, and out of those 12 starts, let me see here, I finished 9 of them, so they were small. And I'm going to show you those today. The first one I started, remember that I had 2 of Sue Hillis sleds done. I had 3 in a little kit that I had bought. So this is the third one that is now finished, and it's completely finished and it's ready. It's going to go over in my Christmas bowl, and I'll hang it on the tree this year and then pack it away. But I'm not going to go put it in my Christmas decorations right now. I've also stitched this one before, so you've seen it. It's called Boo Moon. And it was a pattern that was given to me by a friend, so I stitched it for her and sent it to her. But I liked it so much that I wanted it for myself, and so I stitched it again. That was my second start in May. It has this little Halloween fabric on the back. I don't know. I think that's stitched on Aida. I believe it's on 14 count Aida. And I just added the little spider web fabric on the bottom. Can you see that? And the ribbon and the button, and I think it turned out really cute. I'm pleased with it. I have had for a couple of years this pattern. I'm not sure. Will you be able to see that? Yeah. It's a turtle needle book, and it's by Old Colonial Designs. It was the whole kit. And it came with, let's see, where is it? Oh, darn. This little turtle floss holder, which is really cute. And it made up like this. Now, I changed the pattern a little bit. I left off a couple of little things. I thought it was too busy for me. I'm a little bit, I'm not frilly or fancy or anything like that. The back of it looks like this. And it just has this little ribbon tie that holds it to closed, and it opens up and your needles go in like that on this little piece of felt. Isn't that a cute little thing? I didn't have a needle book, honestly, so I was pleased to get that done. And then this is another one I've had for a while. It's called Leaping Stag by Threadwork Primitives. And I finished it just like it's called for there on a candle board. I think I also changed this one a little bit. It had these two little blue trees. I didn't much care for the blue trees, so I left them off, and I thought that was plenty. Added the little pom-pom trim, which turned out really nice, I think. I glued that on. It was an afterthought for me. I first wasn't going to do that. But anyway, it's holding up pretty good. I don't know over time what it's going to do. Then I found this pattern called Midnight Jack. It was in a Punch Needle and Primitive Stitching magazine. Let's see if I've got the fall 2016 issue. It is not an FFO yet. It will be soon. Just ran out of time. Is that not the cutest thing? That little face. I just thought that was really cute. This is another pattern that I've had for a couple of years. It's from Shepherd's Bush. It came upon a midnight clear. That's what I call it. That's not the name of it. Button Moon is what they call it, because it's got, in the pattern, it's got a button for the moon. I didn't do that. I didn't have the button, and I left the button. So I left that off. I left the moon off completely. And I did this on a natural linen. I didn't much like stitching on that. It's a great big piece of linen, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this. It was just some I had, some linen that I had, and I wanted it to be kind of a rustic looking because of the, you know, the idea of the manger and that sort of thing. But I don't know how I'm going to finish it. I may do a little flat fold. I haven't done that yet, but I know Vanna's got a great tutorial, and I may try to do that. But I could just do an ornament. I don't know. I'll think about that later. I sound like Scarlett O'Hara. I'll do that tomorrow. Let's see. Plum Street had a Happy Mother's Day called Hare's Mother's Day, I think. Free one. I did not put Happy Mother's Day on there because, frankly, my mother's gone already. And I just didn't have the heart to stitch that. But I loved the bunnies. They're not bunnies, they're hares, Marlene. Sylvia talked about that on one of her videos one time. These are hares. But isn't that a sweet one? I thought it was. And I'm just going to make that into a little pillow to go in with my collection of holiday pillows. I wanted to get 2 or 3 things done out of those magazines, the Punch Needle magazines. So again, I found this one, I Believe in Christmas. I liked that one a lot. It came from, I don't have the month, I don't have the issue written down on that one. But if it's something you really want, I'll look it up for you. And this is how it turned out. Again, it's probably going, this one's probably going to be a flat fold. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do with that one. I like the size of it for a flat fold. And I haven't done that yet, so I'm really anxious to try. This was my next to the last new start. And I don't know if it really qualifies as a new start, although it was. But it was John Hancock. I'm doing Vanna's border, but I've only done a little bit of the border. But I did finish John. Let's see. I hope you can see that. It's a little wrinkled. It didn't take all that long to stitch this one. And I like it a lot. I'm really liking this tin roof gingham that I put this on. I am, I think on these, I did not use the call for threads, not all of them. I used part of them, but I substituted for a few, some DMC things. And I've ordered Martha. She's not here yet, but she'll be joining Betsy and John. I think that's supposed to be shipped on June the 5th, so at some point she'll be joining. And then my last start, I didn't want to do it. It was kind of like the Stitch Mania love-hate thing. Love the pattern. Looks like a lot of time and a lot of work, but everybody that's stitching it, when they show it, I just sit and stare. So here I am. Let freedom ring. It really is a wonderful, wonderful pattern. And I have just barely started it. I'm working on the border. I started in the top left-hand corner and I'm working on the border. And that's all I've gotten done on that one. But it's going to be, I'm going to be working on it for the next several days. I think probably today is, I didn't tell y'all, today is Wednesday and it's the very last day of May. Can you believe it? June is here. It's just here all of a sudden. So I'm going to try to work on that at least through the weekend so that I can have a really good start on it. But then I'm going to go back. You know I don't like to have a whole lot of whips. And I don't normally do. I don't have a whole lot of whips. I have, let's see, I wrote it down. I have 4 whips that I never touched in May. Never got to them at all. And that makes my heart hurt. I want to stitch on them. I have, well, Heaven and Nature Sing, and I have the Vervaco kit, the hands kit that, please, Lord, I want to get that done by my grandchild's first birthday. And yes, he's only 6 weeks old, but y'all is going to take me till his first birthday. And I have the Rosewood Manor Country Cottage Sampler. And I have one called the Beekeeper. And I don't know about the Beekeeper. That may have to be a restart. I started it on 40 count fabric, and I'm really struggling some days to see those higher counts. I do have cataracts, but they're not, apparently not bad enough yet for me to require surgery. The optometrist, of course, just keeps saying, you'll know, you'll know. Well, I don't know. And it's odd, but if you've ever had cataracts, tell me, do you do this? Some days I can see better than other days. Why is that? Some days it's a little blurry, and some days it's not a little blurry. And some days I can, with my magnifier and my readers, I can see that 40 count, but some days I can't see it for squat. I just can't do it. Anyway, so I don't know about Beekeeper. I may have to change fabric on that and go down to something. I find that I really love the 28 count. It's much easier for me. Sometimes I don't, in the daytime when the light is bright and I have my lights on, sometimes I don't even need the magnifier to see the 28 count. I just use my readers. And so that's much more comfortable for me. I do love the way that the patterns look on the higher counts. I love 32 and 36 both. 32 probably be my favorite. I have only one whip that I worked on this month. Oh, wait, I forgot. I have some other new starts that I didn't show you yet. Guess I better do that. This is a Brenda Gervais pattern. Liberty. Is that the name of that one? I always just call them whatever's written on there. Land of Liberty, she calls it. And this is where I am on this one. Uncle Sam's almost done. I feel like when I get Uncle Sam done and the flag done, well, it's almost going to be over for this one, because all I have to do is the Liberty and a couple of little things on the end. And this is just going to be the cutest thing. It's going to really go nicely with my other patriotic stuff. I love patriotic stuff. I know I keep knocking things off over here. I know some people don't really like those colors, but I do. This one is, I call it Merry Christmas, and it comes from Punch Needle and Cross Stitch Magazine, Christmas 2015. And it's kind of dark. It's hard to see, but it's a bunny. And it has Merry Christmas. It's a very primitive looking one. And this is how far I am on him. These are his ears right here. And that's his eye. His body's going down this way. I'm really going to love this one when it's done. I can tell. It's been a fun stitch, but I get into that white thread, and y'all know how white thread is. We all have a love-hate relationship with white thread. I also started Oh Christmas Tree from Not Forgotten Farm. I wanted a piece that I could take with me, like to the doctor's office or take in the car traveling. So I wanted a bigger count of fabric, and I asked about this the last time, I think, the last video a couple of weeks ago. I got this maybe 18 count Ada, but it was so stiff I rinsed it out. All I've gotten done is the border and a little bit of the O right here. And it did help that I rinsed out that fabric. It really did. A couple of days ago, I was looking for fabric for Let Freedom Ring, and I couldn't find anything that I had that I really liked, and I was looking on some websites, and I couldn't decide, so I tried Vanna's, I call it shake and bake method. That's not what Vanna calls it, but it's the dyeing and baking thing that she does, and that's what I ended up using for Let Freedom Ring. It did not come out modeled like I wanted to. Not the fault of her tutorial. Her tutorial was perfect and spot on. I unfortunately didn't do it exactly right. I'm pretty bad about not following directions. I read them and think I'm going to remember them and don't look back. Anyway, it came out a lovely color, and I love the color. It's just not modeled, and I'm using it for Let Freedom Ring. I like it a lot. I went ahead and dyed a piece of Ada in the leftover coffee and tea mixture, and it came out a real pretty color too, but it's still pretty stiff. I'm going to do a little bit more experimenting with that. I really think I'm going to put just a tad bit of a fabric softener in some cold water and soak it for a few minutes in that and see if that helps any at all. I don't know if it will. I don't know what it'll do. I won't put anything major on it until I kind of see where it's going to go and what's going to happen with it. Anyway, we'll see. I'll let you know how that works out. And then the one whip that I did work on this month is the Little House Home of the Needleworker. Home of a Needleworker? Yeah, Home of a Needleworker. And this is how far I am on this one. That's pretty good progress, don't you think? I think so. I think once I finish this round with Let Freedom Ring, I'm going to go back to this one and work on it until it's done. And then I'm going to go to the Merry Christmas one, the bunny, and work on it till it's done, because it's really not all that far away either. And that way I won't have quite so many whips. I'm a numbers person. My bachelor's degree was in math. I taught algebra and geometry. And so numbers just kind of hang in there with me. I don't like large numbers of whips, so I want some of these done and out of here. I also have no patience. Can y'all tell that? Sadly lacking in the patience department. I refuse to pray for that, because God may send me some trials that help me exercise patience, and I don't want that either. Okay, I think that's about all that I have. Y'all, I'm way behind on watching your videos. I'm trying to get there, but I am, like I said, things are going on. It's a 5-hour round trip for me to go to see my aunt, and I'm going 2 and 3 times a week, and spending a couple of hours with her, doing her laundry. I bring her laundry home with me and do it and take it back, and I take her some snacks and stuff like that. So that's taking a considerable amount of my stitching time. That's okay. That's okay. I like doing it, and I want to do it for her. She's very precious to me. But it just is slowing me down a little bit, especially on watching videos, because I like to watch videos and try to stitch. Some of you make me laugh so much I have to quit stitching and just watch. Or I get fascinated by what you're doing and I want to look closer. So anyway, so that's about all I've got to say today. I kept it under 30 minutes. I was trying to do that. So I hope you all have a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend coming up. It's supposed to rain all weekend here, unfortunately. But you know, when it rains, we get to stay in and stitch, and so that's a good thing too. All right, y'all have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.